OMG WTF, welcome to These American Gods, a discussion podcast of the Stars TV series American Gods. I'm Tim Pickerel.
I'm Sarah Pickerel.
And, oh yeah, that's right.
It's so weird.
It's still weird to hear.
It's still weird. It's been 6 months and it's still weird.
Yeah, so we got married 6 months ago. We haven't done a show together in about that long.
Yeah.
So a little background, we also do a discussion podcast called Watchers on the Couch, which is one about Game of Thrones, as you might have guessed, or you might have followed us here from. So, one of the other things that you'll notice is there's only two of us.
Yeah, we're lonely.
It's been quite the series of unfortunate events leading up to our debut episode of this podcast.
It has. The weather's been crap, and roads are flooded.
Mm-hmm. So it's been raining nonstop for the past 5 days,
million years. I don't know. It's been a long time.
Years. It's never stopped. It's been raining forever. So
that's right.
We're normally joined by our friend Mike Davron, also of Watchers on the Couch. Well, obviously, if I said normally, why would I?
I don't know. I mean, he's normally here when we're doing a podcast together. Like that's legit.
But he can't make it because the roads are flooded and other things. And then we usually get some guest contribution from our friend Chris Nays of the Bacon and Nays podcast. He also wasn't able to send anything in for us because
of the weather, right?
Because of the weather, yeah. He works third shift. So what normally happens is these shows that air on Sunday nights, he's at work at that time. Yeah. So he goes home, watches the episode on Monday morning right before he goes to bed.
Right.
Well, it took him like 3 hours to get home because of all the traffic, because of the roads being flooded, so he didn't get a chance to watch it.
I'm hearing a lot of excuses and not a lot of ambition from these guys. No, I'm just kidding.
Shots fired. Shots of arrows fired into a Viking.
I can't wait until we all get together and get to talk about it.
No, it's going to be good. I was really hoping there's going to be a scene from this. Well, if you're listening to this, you've probably already seen the episode, so you know what scene I was talking about. And if you watch Watchers, or if you listen to Watchers on the Couch, you know why I wanted Mike here to talk about that scene.
Well, yeah.
So, I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll have to circle back with him next episode and discuss it.
Definitely. All right. So, do you want to start talking about? Do you just want to go through scene by scene?
Should we actually start talking about the show that the podcast is about?
We could stop leading up to it. Maybe actually do the thing.
We're going to tease you all. It's been 17 minutes into the show.
That's our show.
Yeah,
thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week. Well, this is only the first episode. They've been, I would say, 90% accurate with the book so far.
Right. Yeah, except for the order of events. Those were a little off. But yeah. Oh, yeah. It didn't start with a Coming to America story. It started with Shadow Moon in the book.
Oh, right. Yeah, well, and this Coming to America also wasn't even in the book.
Or it was, and we both just forgot about it, because I do remember a story. I'm not going to say what it is because that might come later, but I do remember a story that was talking about
Norsemen coming
to America, and their god maybe their god was already there.
Oh, maybe. Yeah. Oh, man. And you just read it.
I know.
And I've read it like a few months ago.
I know.
So.
Well, I have the worst memory ever. So.
Well, I do know that, and now the audience knows that too.
Yeah, well, you're welcome, guys. Okay.
But no, it was a really good scene, even if it wasn't in the book. So, right off the bat, and it's if any of you are familiar with Spartacus, the Stars TV show, Spartacus, a lot of the...
Little on the graphic side.
Very graphic, and it was also like cartoony to the point where like it's really gory, but at the same time it's also humorous in its gore.
Yeah, no, it didn't feel real. Like it was very gory, but it was cartoony.
Like 300.
Yeah. Well, I never saw that movie. Oh. And I never saw Spartacus either.
Oh. Right, so
anyway.
Right after that scene where we have the Vikings landing in North America and then hightailing it out of there after they get killed by, or one of them gets killed by natives.
Well, one of it, but then they basically just they murder each other,
for their blood sacrifice. So
they keep trying. Yeah,
the Allfather will see them.
That's so
they can get
interesting.
Out of there.
Yeah.
But then we actually get into where the book begins with Shadow Moon.
Yeah,
in prison,
right? And he has 3 days left to his sentence.
5 days.
5 days?
5 days.
Okay, I'm sorry.
He gets out 3 days early.
Okay. So 5 days left in his sentence, and calls his honey, Laura, and starts out with "I love you." That was really sweet. But yeah, he's just ready to go home and be with her and live a normal life. And spoiler, that doesn't happen.
Oh,
I know.
You're spoiling that?
Well,
you're spoiling the first 5 minutes of the show.
I can't.
In the first 15 minutes of this one.
Right. I don't know. It was interesting because going back and reading the book and then watching this, like, you don't get all of the little, like, nuances of, like, he always says "I love you" first because it's a good thing to say, and why not say it, and why she calls him puppy, and things like that. Like, you don't get that from the show yet. You might. They might do a flashback.
Maybe.
Yeah. But
it would seem like those are, well, the puppy one for sure would seem like an important one to establish.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's true of a lot of books that are turned into shows. There's a lot of inner monologue and descriptions that you just can't translate into screen.
Right.
So we're introduced to his inmate, Loki, Lysmith.
Which is interesting.
It's a very interesting, like, that's not how the actor and, like, the manner of speaking is not what I pictured in my head.
Really?
Like, I pictured kind of like an older guy for some reason.
I never did. I always thought it would be like a young, kind of creepy guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. You win. You win the imagination game.
That's right. That's right. Okay, so he's released, and Loki, he's recounting a story that Loki told him about don't piss off ladies in airports.
Right, especially if they work for United.
Yeah.
So yeah, Shadow tries to get on a plane and he immediately gets his ass kicked by the flight attendants, and he's told he can't go anywhere. So
yeah.
No, he is able to get on a flight the next day, and then Ian McShane's character shows. What is that?
That's a cat.
That's a cat.
Going apeshit.
I'd say we close the door, but then he's just going to be loud. He'll actually be at the door. So apologies for the cat sounds in the background.
Yeah. Yeah, I loved Ian McShane's character, though.
Yeah, no, that casting is great. Yeah, no. Just confirmed and denied at the same time.
Love it. Love it and hate it. That's okay. No, I love him as Mr. Wednesday. I just think it's so brilliant.
It's great casting. So far, all the casting, I think, has been good.
Yeah.
When we're introduced to him on the plane, after he does a con to actually get into first class on the plane, which, was that in the book?
No, it was not.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
No. And actually, they talk about Shadow actually brings up different types of cons. And that was not in the book either. Mr. Wednesday would bring up all these different types of cons, and he would talk about, like, oh, this was my favorite con because blah 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 blah.
Right.
And Shadow was just listening at that point. But yeah, that's how they made a connection on in the show.
You never really learned what in the book. You never really learned what Shadow did for a living either, did you?
Yeah, he worked at the fight club place. It wasn't a fight club, but it was a place. I think they did like boxing and other fighting.
Oh.
And he worked there to help work people out, and that's what Robbie.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
Robbie was giving him his old job back, basically.
Oh,
yeah.
Boy, somehow I just missed that part. I must have just skimmed right over that.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so let's fast forward a little bit. He finds out that both Lori and his friend Robbie are dead.
Yeah.
Laura and his friend. Did I say Lori?
Yeah, you did, but that's okay.
Okay, Laura and his friend Robbie are dead. And they show the picture of Robbie.
Yeah.
And it's Dane Cook.
Was it Dane Cook?
It was Dane Cook.
Oh, yes, he is playing Robbie. So I imagine that they will be doing flashbacks. They have to.
Because otherwise, that's like really... That's pretty decent casting. Or
I know,
like a big
for just a
photo. For just a photo.
I didn't realize it was like... That was his... I know he looked familiar, but like I didn't put two and two together. Oh, man. Yeah, they've got to do flashbacks then to make that make sense.
Especially if they're going to stretch this story out into multiple seasons.
Oh, is that what they're doing? It's not just a single season?
Oh, no. Because there's only 8 episodes this season.
Oh, geez. Okay.
So I think... Well, I don't want to talk too much about that because there might be people that
haven't read the book. And Mike is one of those people, and you know how he hates spoilers.
He hates spoilers, so I don't want to say where I think certain parts of the book are going to.
Yeah, let's not fast forward then.
But I think they're thinking this is going to be 3 seasons.
Oh my gosh! Okay, and Bilquis.
Mm-hmm.
Can I just call her Billy?
Sure.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Do we care?
I don't.
Okay. All right. So, oh my gosh. I didn't think she looked that ragged, honestly. I mean, her skin was not very glowy, but other than that, she looked beautiful. Mm-hmm. So, her asking, I don't want to call him a John because they were on a date. It wasn't.
Yeah, they met on Tinder.
Yeah. Did they meet on Tinder? Did they talk about that?
I don't know.
They met online.
I think he mentioned something about his phone.
Yeah. So anyway, okay. That scene. Can we talk about that scene for just a second?
We can absolutely talk about that scene.
Okay, what did you think about it?
I thought it was hilarious. I was wondering how they were going to do it.
Yeah.
Because they had to do it. It's such a big scene, and they cast her.
Right.
So, that, if they're going to have her in it, they have to have that scene.
Because that is the pivotal scene. That's not pivotal, but it's
her scene.
A unique... Yeah, it is her scene. Literally. That is the scene she is in. But, it's just such a unique idea. Mm-hmm. And then how they did it at the very end, I was laughing my ass off too. And I remember sitting on the couch and looking over at you, and you looking over at me, and we're just both giggling. You know,
get in there.
It's it was reverse birth. It looked like,
which was that was the name of our when I lived with Mike and Scott.
Yeah.
When we played the game Rock Band.
Okay.
Our band was called Reverse Birth.
It was not.
It was.
Oh my god!
And you could make in the older Rock Band games, you could actually make the logo, your band logo. So I made it so it was the female bathroom symbol, the figure with the skirt with her legs open, and then the male figure was going head first up the dress.
Oh my god!
And that was before I read American Gods. So.
There you go. But he went foot first. Or maybe, dick first, really, if we're going to... But how? How is that possible?
How do you go, dick first into, get your lower half swallowed in?
Yeah. So she looked like a giant. She looked a little bit like a giant. Or was he shrinking?
I think he was shrinking.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Or maybe she was giant. I don't know. Who knows?
Oh my gosh. That was just so crazy. And it was so funny how they did it. Yeah, when his little head would just went in. It was just oh my god.
That's what she said. All right, what else you got?
We could talk about Mad Sweeney.
Well, let's talk about Mad Sweeney.
Okay.
Let's talk about Mad Sweeney.
What's that?
Let's talk about Mad Sweeney.
So,
he's a leprechaun.
He's a leprechaun. He's a very tall leprechaun.
That's a stereotype.
Yep, apparently. So, Mad Sweeney. So, do you know some of the lore behind Mad Sweeney?
The character that he's based off? I know nothing.
So, they aren't really sure if he is a leprechaun or if he is a king.
A leprechaun king?
A leprechaun king.
A leper king?
Leper king. But yeah, that's kind of it. And he goes mad.
Well,
for
sure.
Mad Sweeney. I don't know. I don't know a lot about it, but that was one of the things. They weren't sure: is he a king or is he a leprechaun, or maybe he's both? We don't know. But in the show, apparently he's just a leprechaun.
Okay,
that knows coin tricks. The crocodile bar was really cool. How they set that up.
Yeah, that was very.
They did a great job
very
with
true
that.
To the book.
Mr. Wednesday finds Shadow Moon at the crocodile bar, offers him Mr. Wednesday offers Shadow Moon a job, and they flip for it.
Mm-hmm. With Shadow's trick coin.
Right. Well, it wasn't his trick coin. It was a trick toss.
Right.
Yeah. He flubs it, or Mr. Wednesday flubs it,
Flubs it for him.
Flubs it for him. So it comes out in Mr. Wednesday's favor.
Mm-hmm. And that's how you get a job, folks.
That's how you do it. You just flip a coin. You don't need to worry about a resume.
Right. In these troubled times, when job market's what it is, if you ever find yourself out of luck, just flip a coin. Or find a guy to flip a coin with.
Yeah.
Find a guy that's looking for an employee.
Right. An errand boy,
and
really.
Yeah.
Or errand girl, depending on,
And we don't presume genders.
Right. What's your pronoun?
Beardkin.
Oh, okay. Good. They basically sealed the deal over 3 shots of mead, which is not how you drink mead.
Yeah, I've never seen mead in shots before.
Yeah, I had issue with that.
As somebody who drinks mead.
But they had to get through that part of it.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's a lot of mead to drink.
Yeah. Just chug it down.
3 pints of mead, which cues the fight between Shadow Moon and Mad Sweeney, where you started to cringe a little bit in that fight.
Did I?
Yeah, when Shadow actually gets the upper hand for a little bit and starts pounding on Mad Sweeney's face.
Well, his face was getting so bloody. That was a little too real for me. I know it wasn't real, but it just felt really like raw.
Shadow wakes up in the back of a car with a gold coin. Mm-hmm. Mr. Wednesday driving.
They are going to Eagle Point.
Eagle Point.
Eagle Point to
Laura's funeral.
Laura's funeral. And that's when you get to meet the lovely Audrey with the not weird mouth.
Yeah, she looks like she got dosed with Joker's toxin.
I don't know. It was just really odd, and I felt like her lips were not in sync with what she was saying, too.
Maybe that was the TV.
That could have been it, but like everyone else was synced. So I feel like it was just like that was just a her thing,
Yeah, that is weird. It's like I'm not familiar with that actress, even though she looks familiar.
Yeah,
she looked familiar to me at least, and so I know I've seen her in something before, but I can't place it. Mm-hmm. I don't remember if her mouth was like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I feel bad for making fun of her mouth, but
no,
it wasn't.
It was really distracting, though. I could not take anything she was saying like seriously. Unfortunately,
her upper lip was like locked in place.
Betty Glippin.
Okay,
Gilpin.
What else has she been in?
Let's find out.
Somebody listening to this right now. Well, she was such and such, you dumbass.
Yeah, well, she's like pretty low on the. I don't know. It's finally working. Yeah, her lips like that in real life, apparently.
Okay. They didn't just give her this lip for the show.
So bizarre. She was in True Story. Don't know it. Ghost Town.
Nope.
Nurse Jackie.
Nope.
I never saw it, but I know that show. Yeah. I've never seen her in anything. Death Love.
Nope.
Whatever that is. Oh, she was in American Gods.
Oh, that
right?
might be where I know her from.
Masters of Sex? Elementary. She was in Elementary.
Who was she in Elementary?
Fiona Hellbraun.
Tells me nothing. Okay.
Okay. That's all I got.
All right.
I mean, she was in a lot of stuff, but yeah.
Not all bit parts?
It seems that way.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah. So she understandably, as a character, is really upset because
Robbie and Laura were having an affair.
Right. And, well, Robbie's dick came off in the accident.
Yeah.
Just came clean off.
As dicks do.
That's what happens.
I didn't know if you knew that about male anatomy.
What's that?
When we get into an accident, our dick immediately ejects.
Like, what kind of accident are we talking about?
Pretty much any accident.
Like little fender benders?
Yeah, totally. Anything where the airbag deploys, the dick also comes off.
Is it like an eject button with like a DVD? Is it that kind of thing, or is it more like?
No, that's pretty slow. That's like.
I'm trying to think what would be like a comparable like something that you do in a daily life. Like what would be
in a daily life?
In your daily life.
How often do you eject in a daily life?
I'm sorry. How often do you eject?
Eject. What are we talking
about? Every damn day.
Okay.
No, I'm just talking about like what's a normal thing that people can recognize as like, oh, I know that motion. Like, what is this dick? This dick thing you're talking about?
I'm literally talking about like James Bond ejecting out of the top of a car. Oh. That's what our dicks do.
Damn, with such force, does it actually tear your pants? Like that's pretty forceful.
Well, yeah.
So it just comes straight through the pants.
Uh-huh.
So it takes some time to actually find the dick to put it back in.
Well, the dick only is found if it wants to be found. At that point, it's on its own.
So if it comes back to you, it was meant to be.
Right.
Okay.
That's exactly how it works.
That's great.
Usually you just wake up the next morning and it's back.
Oh, I totally understand now. I had no idea that was a thing for the thing.
It's totally a thing.
Wow.
Anyway.
Who knew?
I did. I just told you.
Well, yeah, I don't know if our listeners knew, though. Hey, if you knew about that, write in. Let us know.
Yeah. If you've been in an accident, guys, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. That sounds serious.
Ejaculation.
Anyway, so Audrey is understandably upset about the whole situation, about Laura and Robbie being together but not together. And so they're at the funeral. She's saying a lot of inappropriate things. Shadow's very uncomfortable. And then Shadow hangs around after burying his wife, and basically yells at her. Yells at the grave of his ex-wife, or his past wife. Well, how'd you say that? Not
late wife?
Late wife. Yeah, late wife. And then Audrey, you see her stumbling in the background, and she comes into frame, and she's been drinking. She pissed on her husband's grave, her late husband's grave, and then tries to fuck Shadow.
Yeah. As you do.
As you do. Shadow had gotten this coin, this really shiny, wonderful gold coin. I'm assuming from Mad. Well, I know it's from Mad Sweeney, but
right.
He drops it in the grave, and you see it swallowed.
So then the only other thing that happens is on his way, or leaving the cemetery, he finds this glowy thing in the field.
That was so fucked up. Okay, I'm sorry, but that was really, weird. Because...
What was weird about it?
Well, that was not... I get why they did it this way for the show. It was really interesting how they did this for the show, but, there was an actual limo in the book. Mm-hmm. You know? I feel like a lot of liberties were taken here.
Well, I mean... There's a lot of liberties taken for a reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
According to Neil Gaiman, because he is the executive producer of the show.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of things that they've changed because there's a feeling that the show has to be contemporary with the time that it's made in,
right,
as opposed to the time it was written.
When was it written?
Early 2000s.
Was it? Okay, yeah. So almost 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Probably.
How's that make you feel? The early 2000s was almost 20 years ago. It makes me feel freaking old.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, moving on.
I think the book's 15 years old.
Yeah.
So nowadays, virtual reality, at-home virtual reality is a real thing. Before,
yeah.
The only other time I remember virtual reality was in the early 90s, and you had to go to an arcade to be surrounded by block people.
Mm-hmm.
So
to be surrounded by block people,
they were just polygon colored ships and things like that.
What?
That you could, there was an arcade place in the mall called Exhilarama, and it would be a ring.
I don't remember that.
Well, you weren't here.
Well, no, but I had arcades where I grew up.
Yeah, but in Springfield, they just got 1993 arcades a year ago.
Okay, so we're like Canada, basically, is what you're saying?
No, you're way behind Canada.
I remember the cool thing was the poker game. Got lots of tickets playing poker.
You didn't get tickets playing virtual reality.
No, I'm sure you didn't.
No, it was
it's a reward in itself.
It was a ring that you'd step up in, and then you'd have a ring that surrounded you, so you didn't tip over.
Okay.
But you couldn't really move around too much. It couldn't recognize where your hands were in space. It didn't have sensors for that. You just had a joystick in your hand that you moved around with. And the only one that I really remember was you just walk around and shoot things.
Okay.
And it would shoot this big diamond shaped thing, and then it'd hit something, and then they'd explode into polygons.
Did it blow your mind? Was it one of those things that just was so amazing?
Well, I never did it.
How are you talking about it like you know what it is then?
Because I went to the arcade and I saw it, and they show it on the display monitor.
Oh, okay. All right. Why did you never do it?
Because I was 12 years old and I didn't have the money for it, because back then it cost $12 for like 10 minutes or something like
that's
that.
ridiculous. That's really dumb.
It was insane.
Yeah.
It was very expensive.
Yeah, that's silly.
But yeah, now everybody's got one. Like, you can get one for like $200 for your house. And
Little VR headset.
Yep. And so now there's a VR headset in American Gods that attaches to your face like a face hugger from Aliens.
Right, yeah. No, it just lurched at him. Like lunged at him.
The Shadow gets sucked into a virtual world or a virtual limousine where he comes in contact with the Technical Boy.
Yeah.
Which is, his personification is different as well as compared
absolutely.
to the book. So,
yeah.
In the book, he's like
he's a fat kid.
He's the fat basement dwelling kid that we were mostly familiar with growing up.
Were we familiar with him?
Well, I was one.
Were you fat?
No, I wasn't fat.
I was about to say.
But I had lots of fat friends. Some of my best friends were fat.
Oh, okay. So it's okay to talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, he was total douchebag, though. Total douchebag.
Yeah, that's true, regardless of the time period the book is in.
It's true.
So yeah, it was the Technical Boy was in the book is the basement dwelling neckbeard troll type person. And then this modern personification is like the Silicon Valley wannabe that vapes and shit.
Right.
So
yeah,
little liberties there.
Yeah. A little bit. I mean, like, still, it was
the same character, just different
and
visual
he was
representation.
Vaping. He was technically vaping in the 2000 version too in the book.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway,
oh my God, vaping started because of that book.
It could have been, maybe. I don't know. You know how technology always follows after science fiction, and even though Neil Gaiman writes very interesting type of science fiction, it is science fiction, but there's really no it's science fiction, it's fantasy, it's reality. It's like this whole genre, you don't have a box that it actually fits in.
It spans genre.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, it's like Star Trek and the whole tablet thing, like that. Star Trek came first.
I'm a big fan of how the tablets in Star Trek look way clunkier than the tablets that we actually have.
Yeah.
Even looking at the ones in the Next Generation.
Well, if you look at the
3 inches thick.
I know. If you look at where we came from, though, technology-wise, as far as where the tablets were, where cell phones were at some point, that was it. And then we just keep getting sleeker and sexier technology.
And fancier. Put an Apple logo on it.
Yeah, it's not even Apple. Just put an Apple logo on it. No big deal.
Yeah, that's all that anybody cares about is curves and apples.
That's right.
It's Isaac Newton wet dream. How many Apple products are in here right now?
I don't know. Too many.
1, 2.
Anyway, so the Technical Boy calls these goons, basically, his children. So these two guys that are roughing up Shadow.
These faceless constructs that appear.
Yeah, they are.
As opposed to actual goons in the book.
Right. So odd. And then there's they multiply. There's just so many of them by the end of it. Thought it was pretty cool, though, how they began and ended the show with the same kind of feeling. Or at least the same kind of bloodbathiness.
Yeah. Because all the contract. The other thing that's interesting is these are constructs in the digital realm, but then they get jettisoned out to beat up Shadow and lynch him.
Yeah.
And then they bleed everywhere when they all get killed.
Yeah. That was weird.
Because they did all get killed.
Right.
By someone.
Don't know who. Don't know who yet.
We'll find out. Unless we don't. What kind of bad storytelling would that be then?
That would be terrible storytelling. It'd be lazy storytelling. Yeah.
So speculations for the next episode?
I can't.
You can't? You have no speculations?
I have speculations, but I think it's based off of my knowledge of the book, and I feel like I would be giving stuff away, so...
Yeah, me too. We'll need Mike here to actually do speculations.
I know. He should get his crystal ball out and what's it going to be? What do you think it's going to be?
Well, the one thing that I've noticed from the previews, and I mean, technically this is a spoiler from the book, but I guess it doesn't really matter, is characters appear...
Earmuffs. Earmuffs, Mike.
Well, Mike's not going to read the book, so...
All right, spoiler for the book. What is it?
They've shown characters...
that haven't appeared yet in
the previews that shouldn't appear for a while.
Right. That's absolutely true.
So
a lot of promotional materials for a lot of the characters that haven't shown up yet.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming like a lot of like even these bit part characters that they've shown the casting for already that don't have as much prominence in the book. I'm thinking they're going to have recurring roles in the show.
They should.
So they'll expand on the storyline, especially if they want to fill multiple seasons of this.
Yeah. I did want to talk about the intro, though. Like, their actual graphics intro with all the neon signage.
Oh, sure.
That was so cool. Like, and it was very, like... It was very Las Vegas meets Old Town, dirty bar, back alley kind of. I just loved it. I like those too. I really like. They're really good. These movie channel series like Starz, HBO, they always do a really good job with their intros. Yeah.
Like, Game of Thrones, like that one's iconic now. The way that the kind of steampunky mechanical map
it's very cool.
That flies over. And then the other one that I was thinking of was, you don't watch it, but Black Sails has a very cool intro as well.
Does it?
Yeah.
I don't know, just graphic treatments like that, like anything that's, I don't know, just kind of gritty. It's not all shiny.
Or just like cool. Like that's like one of the main appeal. I don't know if it's really a main appeal, but one of the things that you look forward to when you see a James Bond movie is the intro treatment.
Yeah, that's true.
But at any rate, I think that's a good place to wrap it up.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us for this first episode of These American Gods, for the first episode of American Gods. Next week, we should have Mike in the studio with us. We should have some contributions from our friend Chris Nays. And hopefully we'll have some other content that we're going to be adding to the show as well. So it's just not us talking at each other for a few minutes.
I don't mind that, though.
No, it's fun. I enjoy it too, but I want to...
No,
We have some ideas for some other things that just didn't make it in time for the airing of this show.
That's true.
You can find out more about this show by visiting theseamericangods.com. You can also figure it out, guys. You can also contribute to the show. We're actually looking for... Oh, that was what I wanted to talk about this episode.
What do you want to talk about?
We're all like really big Neil Gaiman fans.
Oh, yeah, huge.
So one of the things I wanted to open this show with, and now that we're talking about it at the end of the show, was what was your introduction to Neil Gaiman?
Oh, Neverwhere.
Neverwhere?
Yeah. It's a great book.
I actually haven't read that one.
I know.
My introduction to it was... Technically, my first introduction to it, I didn't even know it was Neil Gaiman. But he wrote an episode of Babylon 5 in season 5. So I saw, like, one of my favorite episodes of Babylon 5 was written by Neil Gaiman. Yeah. But the other thing, also he did a couple of Doctor Who episodes that were really good as well.
I know.
And then, but no, my all-time first exposure to Neil Gaiman was the Sandman graphic novel. My dad had one of them in his library, and I really enjoyed it.
Very cool. Yeah. I never really got into Sandman, but I did love the Doctor Who Neil Gaiman crossover. It just really it touched me right here, Yeah. I don't know. It was just he's an epic writer. Yeah. And like if you don't even if you're listening to this podcast and you don't like the show, like who are you? First of all. But I would just definitely check out other things that he has written. Stardust, I think, is one that he did.
Yeah, Stardust
which is brilliant.
That's a great movie. I didn't read the book, but I've seen the movie.
Okay, yeah.
I actually haven't. That's the funny thing. I'm such a big fan of Neil Gaiman's work, but I've read almost nothing. I've read American Gods.
Yeah.
But I'm mostly familiar with him through TV, movies, and comic books.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I definitely need to pick out more books. I've heard great things about The Graveyard Book.
Oh, yeah. I just finished reading that.
Did you?
Yeah. It was fantastic. I'm in the middle of The Ocean at the End of the Lane too. I haven't finished it yet, but I'm like halfway through it.
Well, Chris from Bacon and Nays was looking for some recommendations, so there you go, Chris. There's a few for you. Mm-hmm. But as I was saying, the reason I wanted to talk about like what our introduction to Neil Gaiman was is I'm looking for fan contributions.
Oh, yeah.
To let us know what your introduction to Neil Gaiman was, your favorite Neil Gaiman work, or any like kind of how it affected your life story. I'd like to close out the show with those, or a couple of those. So you can go to theseamericangods.com to find out more about how to contribute to that, or I can give you a quick rundown. Just record a video, upload it to YouTube as unlisted, and then shoot me a link to it. And it might appear at the end of the show.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Cool. I had no idea you were going to do that. So,
well, maybe if you checked the website, you would have known that.
Oh, busted!
Why don't you ever follow anything that I do?
I'm busy.
All right. Well, until next week, I'm Tim Pickerel.
I'm Sarah Pickerel,
and I almost gave the ending to the other podcast.
And we're Watchers on the Couch.
Yeah,
we are actually Watchers on the Couch.
Actually, this episode will appear on Watchers at the Couch as well.
Okay, cool.
So
well, we're Watchers on the Couch and
These American Gods.
These American Gods.
And we'll see you next week.